Xavier, can you take us through the face-off and the play that led to the penalty call?
What I can say, Nick. I just won $60 per week, so I'll say nothing for that.
Have you ever been called for that penalty before, Xavier? In your career?
I play hockey. My mother put me in life in May 19, 2001, and I watch hockey since I'm that whatever, and this is the first time I see that.
Hello out there. We're on the air. It's the Waterboyz Wednesday. We're here with Justin, Grant, your boy Taylor. What's going on, guys?
Oh, not too much, busy week. I think Saturday was the busiest day in Waterboyz history.
Yeah. Baseball game, football game, and Islanders game.
Yeah, double header in baseball, First baseball action I've taken in here in about 5 years, I would say.
Yeah.
You know what? It was surprisingly entertaining. A lot more entertaining than what I was expecting.
Islanders baseball is good baseball.
I'm not saying Islanders baseball wasn't. I wasn't expecting. I was just expecting it's senior men's
Like a rec league.
Like some people might not want to try as hard because went up to football there and the excuse was everyone has to go to work here on a Monday. But no, these guys are laying it on the line, diving for bags, they're going.
Oh, it's baseball. Yeah, it's a senior league. It's a league.
I'm impressed.
For football, don't dog him on it yet because my new teammate Richard Lush tore his tricep and is purple from the forearm to the bicep. Richard Lush, if you're watching this, I'm gonna let you know you got a shout out. But dude, keep going on, Warrior brother.
Yeah.
But anyway, as our fans know, you just saw the interview with Xavier Semino there. A very heartfelt interview. That was a tough.
I thought he was gonna cry last night.
That was a tough.
I'm not trying to be rude, but I thought his emotion, he was so emotional and it was showing. It was a heartbroken Xavier Semino last night.
If he broke down, I wouldn't have blamed him one bit because that was a tough loss on Sunday.
You gotta remember they're kids too, right?
Yeah.
This is not a 40-year-old Jason Spezza doing an interview.
No, this isn't the NHL. This is 16 to 20-year-olds having big moments stolen from them by guys who do have to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a great way to put it.
Let's just touch on this.
Let's go over this call.
We're gonna play the clip for you. I'm sure if we can get the clip in there.
Yeah.
But you're gonna see the clip here, and let us know in the comments what you guys think of the clip.
Yeah.
Now, personally,
keep your eye on center ice there. Yeah.
I don't think the call was the right call.
Mr. Analytics over here.
Yeah.
The call was the right call, but do you call that? No. You never call that in that situation. Everything that was not called in the third period, and then Islanders take the lead 10 seconds before that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then you call that at center ice. It's not in Shawinigan's end. It's not in Charlottetown's end. It's at center ice. Xavier hits it with his glove, yes. But then it goes to a Shawinigan player. So what advantage should Charlottetown really get out of that?
No. The rule is plain and simply so black and white. It's not meant to cover that. The rule isn't in place for a puck that's in the air. If the officials did not like that how the face-off plays out,
redo it.
Yeah, you blow the whistle, you redo the draw. How many times have we seen officials do that where they're talking to the guys, they don't drop the puck for 20 seconds because they're just talking to the people in the draw, and the fans are shouting at them.
Power.
Yeah, because they have so much power, and the fans are shouting at them, drop the puck!
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have done that? What power do you, with a minute left on the clock, to see that play and be like, hey, we gotta blow this dead, and not only A, blow it dead, but B, give a face-off infraction penalty. Who gets a 2-minute minor for a face-off infraction at that time? And also, the rules should be in place so that if they touch the puck while it's on the ice, I can understand, so the puck's on the ice and they swipe it back with their glove then, yes, that's an infraction. The puck is in the air. It's in the air.
Yeah. I don't know.
He hits it with his glove and it bounces off with Shawinigan's stick. And the line's been called.
Yeah, I guess the line's in this situation because he has a clear, straight angle view at that. moment in time. Like Hicks is the one that made the call. If anyone's unaware of that.
Yeah, hey Matt Hicks. We can tell who's.
Someone's a little fired up here. I'm guessing it's the hat or the job.
Grant, would you say he's got that little bit of heat going on right now?
He's got a little heat. And I'm telling you, it's not Taylor. It's a long intro. Just brace yourself, okay? There's a lot to get mad at later on.
Just calm down.
Take a breath.
He's still mad about
But
last night.
Here's my 2 cents. One, that's not for the linesman to make that call. That is for the referee. Matt Hicks is a joke there because you can call a match penalty, too many men. That's really it. Not a big call like that changed the tide of a game.
With a minute on the clock.
Yeah.
Right after the Islanders take the lead. And also, why was he dropping the puck there, a linesman? And why was the linesman at center ice? After a goal, every league you look at, NHL, any league, after a goal, who drops the puck?
Referee.
A referee. Why wasn't the referee dropping the puck there? I'd like to know that. Because, like, if people are thinking this shit's rigged, so many things now are kind of just...
And to follow that, my second and final point, as I was leaving the press area, a fan who thought I was with Shawinigan's media mistakenly asked me how I got the ref to win them the game. If that's the general consensus with fans, you don't make that call. All game, there were some questionable calls.
And
That I, frankly, did kind of agree with, I'll be honest.
Some of them were understandable. Some of them weren't. I thought some of them
There were
weren't
about
agreeable.
2 or 3 last night that
Were questionable.
very questionable calls. I didn't see any really that was like, no, that's not a no call, you know. But when fans are thinking that, you don't make that call at any point in the game.
And the fact is, too, that the Q has people there.
Yeah.
The Q has directors, all the, like,
Yeah.
their big wigs are there, and they're not
They didn't
doing
spend
anything.
a lot of time on that last night.
No,
If anyone
that
really paid
review was
attention,
very
like,
short.
like,
Yeah.
for a massive call, that was not a lot of time. In
No.
my opinion, I don't think they spent a
With
lot
a
of time.
minute and 10 left on the clock in Game 2 of the finals.
Yeah.
Especially in Charlottetown. And you're going to call that the only call of the third period, by the way.
Yeah.
After all the non-calls we saw in that third period, the only call isn't even made by a ref. It's made by a linesman on a face-off infraction. After all the shit they let go that period, and a face-off infraction decides that tying goal for Shawinigan.
Yeah.
Gives them a 6-on-4
Like-
with a minute left.
Like I said, like looking at it, like you can, and if the rule is what the rule states in
The rule
Q-
states so many different things, though.
Yeah,
In
it's
24
it's
hours, the amount
weird.
of I forget the depictions of this rule that we've been looking at, there's so many different versions, and each one either says right call or wrong call.
But so like
specify.
at this point now, it's like what 20 hours or 20 hours after game time. The head of the Q officiating has came out and said that he's defending or like agrees with what was
He backed
called
the
last
call.
night. Yes. So at this point, like I think
We're just moving forward.
if you're Charlottetown, you got to move forward, and
Yeah.
all fans have
So,
to move forward
yeah.
too.
It's the
And
same
that-
thing. Oh, go ahead.
Now you got 2 games on the road at a tough rink with a loyal fan base.
Sold
It's
out.
gonna be louder. It's gonna have more lumber than the Eastlink Center. And I'm struggling to find a reason why the Islanders don't get swept here. Not to be pessimistic, but that's a strong team, strong goaltenders. You beat
you
the
got a 1A,
goaltenders on
1B
shots.
in that situation.
Yeah.
No, like I mean for Shawinigan, like they have
Yeah.
a 1A, 1B. Like,
From what
they're-
I heard
they're-
is that the reason they switched up the goalies last night is because apparently the guy that started game 1 isn't in the best shape, and they don't think he'd be able to hold up for an entire 7-game series if it came to that. But it's hard to win a game when not only are you facing the Shawinigan Cataracts, who all credit to them are an amazing hockey club, have 2 first-round picks anchoring their first line. Like, that's hard to come up against, let alone when you're not having calls like that put against you and put in those situations. And also, like Jim said it best in his press conference, like you said, they got to wash this away. when the emotion eventually does settle down, which it's starting to, I'm not quite as heated as I was last night.
Yeah.
But when the emotion finally settles down, they know they got to reset, and they still have games to play. It's best of 7, and yes, you lose 1 at home, okay. You lose 2 at home, that's a big no-no, you think.
Mhm.
And it hurts, but Jim doesn't think like home ice advantage means as much as people think it do. He said they've been a great road team. They're 10-1-1 in Quebec this season,
Yeah,
2-0 in the
They have
playoffs.
the best road record in the regular season. of
But
any team.
Shawinigan's only got 1 loss at home
In the regular season,
in the postseason.
like Taylor said, I think 10-1-1 in Quebec. They've beaten
They
teams
are-
like Quebec, Grand Prairie, just a lot.
They were 120% the better team in last night's game.
Yes, I think they were the better team. in
37-20 were the final shots.
Yeah.
They had Shawinigan's number the entire. Not that Shawinigan played horrible,
Shawinigan
but
played-
Charlottetown showed up and was the better
Shawinigan-
team.
I will disagree with you there. Shawinigan came out better than what Charlottetown did.
They got the first goal in last night's game, but Charlottetown didn't. They only got better as the game went on. Where Shawinigan just stayed the same.
I think in the second period is when
It's the
Charlottetown
2 players you got to
really-
watch out for.
Yeah, like
Bork
it's
and
a-
Borgo.
It's
And
basically
who
a
had the first goal last
To
night?
me, it's a Shearbrook thing again, where it's one line and you shut that one line down. I think you win.
But with Sherbrooke, we weren't dealing with 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
One,
It's,
Perron are good, but they weren't Borgo and Bork.
it's setting a tempo thing, and honestly, that first line carries over to the second line. That second line
Yeah.
carries over to the third line. They've got 3 good lines that are firing. 1 great line.
Now, one thing Grant did mention in the presser last night, and I'm just completely blanked on this, but I remember it right now for you guys, is Shawinigan blocked a lot of shots last night. And
Yeah.
especially, I forget his name right now, but we'll put
Number
it in
49.
Here. Yes, we'll put his name in the.
Is that Jordan Turgney?
I think maybe, but
Yes.
on a penalty, he was on a. Charlottetown had a penalty.
He's an 05 born. Let's begin with this. He's one of the youngest players on the team.
16. He's getting 20 minutes a night.
Yeah.
He's on a penalty kill, and he blocks 3 shots back to back
3
to back.
cannons, clap bombs of shots. 2 from Noah Lown and 1 from
I think
I
Will
wanna say
Trudeau.
yeah. But oh my gosh, those were thunderous off the stick and thunderous off of his shin pads, and 1 off of his thigh pad.
Yeah.
It was just honestly that penalty kill was carried by Jordan,
Yeah.
and that was impressive.
So, looking forward.
And for Charlottetown with a strong power play, that's impressive to shut it down. But anyway,
Yeah.
looking forward,
Who do you guys have for Game 3?
Shawinigan.
The Islanders. I got back my boys.
But you're thinking about this.
I am thinking in Quebec especially. I'm concerned with my conspiracy theories about how the officiating will be in Game 3, but I just feel like Jim's a professional coach. He's won Coach of the Year 2 years in a row. This team is filled with veterans: Budgel, Lowen, Simoneau, Gay.
Yep.
They've been here before in situations like this. And as heartbreaking and wrenching as it was to have that loss last night go down the way it did go down after seemingly sealing up a victory late in third, I think that reset button is going to be pushed pretty hard. I think they're going to sweep that under the rug. I think with just how good of a coach Jim is, I think going on that flight up to Quebec, he wasn't just letting his players sit and listen to music or play cards or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In the finals like this, there was words. That's 2 hours of a flight. Jim was probably talking either individually to players or as a group,
Yeah.
trying to reset and regroup them because they know they're going to Quebec right now. They need that road victory to stand true.
You need to win Game 3 if you have a chance to win.
You need to win Game 3, and you'd like to win Game 4. You'd like to take both games up there, but
And take home ice back.
if you play the same way you did last night and hit another gear yet, I think overall they're a better team than Shawinigan.
I think.
I just think
we're
this isn't an easy series. That's
we're
the plain and
forgetting
simple.
something too. Like Patrick LeBlanc has a chance to come back. Like it's an iffy, but like if he comes back for Game 5, you get him back in Game 5. You get back to Charlottetown for Game 5. Like here's the first thing.
That's a big pit to cross.
But here's the first step. It's not to like say let's win this series. First step is let's win a game and get this to so we have a chance to play in Charlottetown again.
let's win more than one period a game.
Yeah.
To be honest.
They had the control for at least 40 minutes
they
yesterday.
won 40
Yeah.
minutes of yesterday's game.
I'd push
But-
even farther. That.
But
Anyway,
I think your first thing is you win game 3, and you get a game 5 in front of your home crowd again.
yeah.
And then from there, if you win game 4, that's great. If not, then you win you come back home and you have the opportunity to make something special.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to win game 3.
Yeah.
You lose game 3, I think it's done.
So who do you think is taking game 3?
Me personally, I think the Islanders will find a way.
Okay.
I think that I'm not trying to be biased or anything here, but I do think that they're going to find a way and win one game up there. I don't think they're going to win both.
No.
I think that, being honest, like, they're going to win one, and I hope it's game 3.
Yeah.
So that means it's a series.
Because if it's game 4, it's a big hole to crawl out of.
Yeah, like, you're down 3-0.
Yeah.
I mean, so we'll see. But like I said, we could totally be wrong. Like, I think Shawinigan, like you said, like, Shawinigan's played great. This
Yeah.
is not an easy series. It's not like you're playing Moncton.
Yeah.
No
At this point, I'd
disrespect
rather
to
play
Moncton.
Quebec.
Like, Quebec, I don't know, man. Shawinigan's really good.
They are good.
And their
this isn't-
defense,
this is-
I don't know if it's a part of their game plan or not, but number 89, Max Dwa, I think I said that right. He's getting under the skin of most Islanders players.
He's a great pest.
He's drafted to Anaheim. There's a prospect for Anaheim, but if coach is telling him to go out there and just be a shit disturber, I'd give him 150% on his test.
Yeah.
Because he is doing the job and exceeding with high expectations. Like,
Yeah.
Brett Budgell is totally invested in conversations with him every stoppage.
Oh, yeah.
And who favors in that? Not Brett Budgell.
Yeah.
Or not the Islanders, I should say. I think it's Shawinigan that favors, but anyway.
So, moving on to the NHL. We've got some suspensions, some surprises, and some not so much surprises. Let's start with suspensions. Evander Kane's 1-game suspension for his hit on who again?
Nazem Kadri. Do you
Yeah.
think it's enough or not enough?
That's enough.
Yeah, it's enough.
I think it's enough too. I don't think there's any debate from any of us.
Yeah,
I
just
know
as-
that you want
yeah.
some debate, but we think we're
Yeah.
in agreement here.
Just as Kane said, Kadri likes to reverse hit. And that's kind of expected from Kane, is to go in hard there, expecting a reverse hit. And I don't know if Kadri lost an edge or what, but yeah, on his way down, he almost broke his neck. And
But it was a dangerous play.
it was a very dangerous play.
You
Yeah.
can't you're taught in hockey. If you're 8 feet, if you see someone 8 feet from the boards back towards you,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to just go in there and cross check them and
No.
He went in a little hot and heavy, but
he went in there with a purpose and he
Yeah.
succeeded that for sure.
yeah.
So one game definitely sends a message, and it definitely ruins Edmonton's chance if they had a chance. Of
And
coming.
that takes a piece away from McDavid right there.
Yeah,
that's his
yeah.
best. That's his best winger.
Yeah, and honestly, right now, it's not that. I'm honestly a little surprised that Edmonton might get swept here, but it's not that surprising when you look at the big picture after those first 2 games.
I think Colorado's just too dominant. Like I've been saying all year.
Yeah, you're right.
They're dominant, top to bottom.
Yeah,
In my opinion, their D core. They've your top 6 D could play a top 4 in any team in the
Yeah.
NHL.
They're still really young too. They got the legs on them.
No, buddy, they're young. They're young, and you lost Samuel Girard, and you're still playing this great on defense. So, I don't know. My opinion.
Yeah.
I think they wrap up this series tonight. You guys, I'm guessing, agree with me, or you guys
100%.
disagree?
I think we agree with you.
Yeah, this series, think Daryl Sutter said it was going to be a waste of 8 days in the wild card. Well, it's been a waste of 8 days here in the conference finals, I would say.
It's been a waste of a lot of days for Colorado. They've been sending a lot of teams to the golf course, and you know what?
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, Edmonton has gotten a lot of rest this playoff push.
So,
So
I mean, we got to move into the more exciting one now.
the Rangers coming in heavy.
This is a Broadway,
this
boys.
Is a series. This is a
Yes.
series.
Talk about a Cinderella story. Who were the New York Rangers in January and February? I'll tell you, a bunch of scrubs. That's what I thought of them. Now they're coming back.
They've been
That's
hanging
a-
around all year, but no one gave them any love.
I
No one
don't
gave them
think-
attention.
Yeah,
Igor
no.
Shesterkin just putting some hopes to the bed.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still staying humble. Like if you guys
Yeah.
saw his interviews, he's still saying Vasilevsky's the best goalie in the world. Like he's
Yeah.
he's not saying he's better than him right now.
Honestly, if anyone can knock off Tampa at this point, it's the Rangers.
Well, that's
It's not the Rangers. It's not the Rangers. It's Shesterkin.
just there.
Yeah, it's Shesterkin.
Well, as the saying
Like,
goes.
Because he's keeping them in the games.
Oh, yeah.
It's some low-scoring games, but it's great hockey.
I mean, they got outshot by
Great
like
hockey.
30 or 20 last
yes,
time.
great hockey. I love that. When one goalie stands on his head, let alone for a whole series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the saying goes, you gotta beat the best to be the best.
Yeah.
So I think Tampa won last night.
Yeah.
They got
With 41 seconds left.
Give him a game. yeah.
they gave them a game.
Because
I
New
think-
York was looking like they were going to go up 3 in this one.
Well, they were up 2-0 originally.
Yeah, I think. Honest to God, I think Tampa's going to even this thing up. And then we'll see what goes from there. I can't give you a prediction right now.
Well, you're saying in Game 7 if they're going to even it up. Pretty much.
I don't know.
Well, at least a Game 6.
I know it's only game 6.
If it's going to a Game 6 against Igor, that's going to a Game 7.
But we'll see. I do think they're going to win tomorrow.
The Rangers are exciting hockey. The Lightning are just, you know what they are. They're good.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Lightning
but the
are
Rangers are exciting.
Yeah.
The Lakers are just good.
Yeah.
They're electric.
But just as Taylor said, that's not exciting. Just seeing a great team.
As
But they're being
cool as
dominant.
no. As cool as it like for Tampa as a three-peat would be, I don't want to see that. I want to see something fresh.
Well, of course you don't.
I know. I don't mind the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm not.
They rolled you.
I don't.
That's why I don't want to see it.
I don't hate the Lightning. It's not exciting when the same team's winning every year. You want to see some
But
fresh faces.
You just
You wanna see-
strongly dislike them.
Like,
I just-
we haven't seen.
Well, my
it.
cousin won a cup with them. I like the Lightning.
But
I
here's
got
the
Who's your
thing.
cousin?
Brad Richards.
But here's the thing.
Learn something new every day.
That's not the issue that I'm having. You're not. We haven't seen this type of dominance, like like our lifetimes. Like back to
So you're telling me for 3 years in a row you'd be fine with seeing the Lightning raise that cup?
yes, like it's dominance.
Dominance is boring.
Yes,
Dominance is so
shake
boring.
it up.
Justin.
Give us something fresh.
Listen. The Roman Empire, impressive.
So do you guys
To go
think,
that big for that long. But let me tell you, Julius Caesar was a boring fella.
So
That's why they stabbed him in the back.
So you guys are telling me right now that you guys think that NHL, all these big leagues, probably rig it so then that they can't win.
No.
Because
No.
they want they want
no.
action.
No
The
one
NHL
said anything about rigging.
The NHL is the least rigged sport in the world. You talk about unpredictable sports, you're talking about hockey, and let alone
Whoa,
NHL.
whoa.
Yeah, where did you get
Whoa,
rigged
where's
out of that
this wool coming
conversation?
from? Where'd this wool coming from?
What's this wall coming from? About how the Q might be rigged.
Because
When
it's
did I say
Quebec.
that?
No, I'm not
Look
saying.
at- look
I'm
at
not
the kid in
saying
the bucket
you.
hat
I'm not,
for Q.
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you. But like, if you guys are saying hockey's unpredictable, what you just said, hockey's unpredictable. You cannot sit here and say the Q has.
I did not
The
say
Q's
hockey is
not-
unpredictable.
The Q is not rigged.
The Q is not rigged whatsoever.
There might be some favorsome stuff there and
See,
here,
like, this
but
is what we're talking
The
about.
Islanders are getting a bad hand.
they're getting a very bad hand right now, yeah.
Oh my! Here we go. Biased media right here.
Okay, no.
Let's talk basketball.
What a joke.
Golden State. Coming in big. I'm tired of it. Oh my god.
Hockey.
Golden State. I'm sorry. Waterboyz unscripted and coming at you in 4K HD. 60 frames per second, by the way.
Nice little just reference in there. Like,
Yeah.
we gotta throw in a promo 60 frames per second coming at you.
You know where I'm going after? You know where I'm going after we film this episode of Decompressed? Hunter's Ale House, and I'm gonna get myself a playoff platter. Let me tell you, the big games are on the big screen. They're at Hunter's at the factory.
I
Scott,
think a fucking beer right now.
the big games are on the big screen at factory. Ask about their playoff platter. A
Maybe
deal.
they're rigged.
And what a deal.
Maybe the playoff platters rigged.
It is. They got matzo sticks on that thing. Let me tell you, their matzo sticks, so good. So best matzo sticks in Charlottetown.
Nice and crispy.
Nice and crispy.
Yeah.
They're rigged.
Honestly, I got something against Coach's matzo sticks because they're the size of a P.E.I baseball bat,
Yeah.
and you can't fit your mouth around the sucker. And they come with 4 of them.
You're not
Looks like a chub.
So
This is
anyway,
getting too rated. YouTube.
all right. Unscripted Waterboyz coming at you live, but we're gonna get back to this. Well, NBA Finals.
You have a little seizure right
Yeah, I
there.
did. I did.
Yeah, you talk about rigged, you talk about basketball. Oh my gosh.
Okay, we're done with the rig stuff. we'll
No, we're getting into this.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that for the. Why?
You brought it up.
What's rigged about the basketball?
Bill Burr has a point. First quarter of any NBA game this postseason seems to just be like, all right, let them play. Second quarter, all right, whoever's up, we're going to get them within a tight game. So we keep the fans entertained for halftime.
Okay.
And then third quarter, we're going to start making some calls for one team. And then the other team comes back, and it's a Cinderella story. They got the comeback. Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Straight from Bill Burr's mouth. And you know what? As soon as he said it, I said to myself, you know what? The man has a point.
Well, basketball almost got as emotional as soccer has been lately. Like, they've been diving, 6-foot guys are tipping over 7-foot guys with little nudges and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they're looking for calls. They're diving.
You look at the amount of calls in the NBA right now. Oh, man. Irving would be ashamed.
Worst officiating in major sports has been the talk of the playoffs in the regular season.
Yeah.
You guys done?
Oh, you got a hot take here for us?
Okay, let's hear about your actual sport of basketball. Let's hear what you got to say.
I'm not arguing what you guys said.
Oh.
I'm just saying you guys done.
So you're saying we're right.
No,
You're not arguing, you're saying we're right.
Everything you guys said there is not right, but like most of it
It's
is.
right.
I think like there is some like we've seen these podcast clips with former NBA refs saying that they rig games.
Yeah.
So, we are talking about rigged then,
But
huh?
like if you're looking at it now, I don't think it's as rigged as it once was. But it is.
It's more so now when the players trying to control the games.
You know,
The refs are there
we
for
have-
show
We have to
nowadays.
speak about.
You know what you remind me of, Justin?
We're a little bit off topic.
You remind me of the song Piano Man. For a song called Piano Man, that guy with the harmonica doesn't shut up. For a guy that doesn't talk about rigging, you're talking about rigging an awful lot here.
Okay, Golden State and Boston are tied 1-1.
Yes,
Mhm.
Steph Curry is amazing.
Yes.
Who's going to win this series?
Boston.
In what?
Golden State.
Because it fits the script.
Ah.
No.
Well, you want to talk about major
they get their
dynasties? The
they get
Warriors
their-
are right there. What, the fourth championship in 8 years they're going for?
Yes, but come January, come mid-season, nobody was thinking the Warriors were going to be here.
Oh, no. Clay
What?
just coming back off his injury. What do you mean, what? Clay was coming back off his injury. Steph
Stephen
wasn't.
A.
You look at playoff odds.
Stephen A. And a bunch of like big time reporters were saying Golden State's like a team to watch out for. Like they're
Yes.
going to the Western Conference.
No,
Finals.
yeah.
But you
Same.
look at the playoff odds, not the analysis side of it. You look at the playoff odds, the actual odds from Vegas.
Yeah.
Golden State was probably 11th or 12th at a certain point in the season. So
There's
those-
been a few upsets, and Golden
Yeah.
State has profited off those upsets.
Yeah.
With getting the
And that
Mavs
comeback.
putting
Which
the Suns
team?
out, they didn't have to
Wait,
face the
that's like
Suns.
No, I think I honestly think if you're Suns versus Warriors, I think they win that.
The Suns or the Warriors?
No, the Warriors.
I'm not arguing that they wouldn't have. I just think Golden State
Like-
they got a little help from other teams,
Golden State.
and they played the Golden State game.
Yeah.
no doubt in my mind they've been
didn't-
dominant.
Golden State didn't need KD.
No.
No.
KD needed Golden State
Yeah.
to
You're
win
right.
to win his rings.
I also dislike him much more than I used to.
It's
I
Steph.
still like
It's
KD.
Steph Curry and
I still
Klay
like KD.
Thompson and Draymond Green, and now you added Jordan Poole.
And Andrew
They
Wiggins.
built Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins.
They're deep.
And they don't even have James Wiseman, their second overall pick from last year. So I don't think this is unexpected that the Warriors are going to come in here. And I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win 6.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a shock. Like, I don't think it's oh my God, we didn't see this one coming.
No. I can see the Warriors winning this 100% in 6 games. Just.
And I'm going to say, you're saying Celtics in 7.
Celtics in 7. You want to know why, Justin?
Fits the script.
Fits the script.
But
they don't got that heat because I'm
the only
sitting on that.
thing that I can say that Boston has a chance of winning is Jason Tatum is going full Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
He wore the wristband.
You see his jacket last night?
Well, did you see what he was wearing in practice?
He was wearing Kobe's
Exact.
gear that he wore to his Celtics tryout.
Exact.
Yeah.
Not.
Workout.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, like he was wearing the exact same attire, basically.
Same shorts, same shirt, wristband in the same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's doing full Kobe Bryant. Like
Mamba mentality?
Yeah, this guy's.
You know what? It's awesome to see.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not.
Pay homage.
I'm saying
Yeah.
like I'm scared for Golden State for that one reason.
Yeah.
Like this kid's got it all.
Yeah, we've seen a couple games this season where one player is taking control of it, and frankly, if Jason Tatum can keep this up, it's bye-bye Warriors.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, next week hopefully it's not over by then, but
Yeah.
I think that it's gonna go long, or it's gonna be a long series, so it won't be over. Now
Yeah.
moving on to the last thing we need to talk about here, because the Angels, well they're back to their normal form, guys. They've
Yeah.
lost
11 straight.
11 straight. Way to go! Give them a round of applause.
The consistent Angels.
Yeah, the consistency, yeah.
When will the
They-
Mets be consistent?
They
That's my
threw us
question.
off though.
They did.
The-
They
the-
looked good.
The Angels, like, they had me messed up. They
They
were like,
started off great.
I thought, wow.
Went to good. And then now...
It was too good to be true, is what it was.
I wish they were better. I love Mike Trout. As much as I hate Shohei Ohtani for taking the MVP award away from Vladdy, I still like Shohei. I love Anthony Rendon. I wish they were better. I wish they were good. I wish Mike Trout was gonna get a winning ways.
You gotta stop wearing jerseys and hats of teams we talk about on this show.
I gotta represent the love.
Then hang it up on the wall.
The love. Oh my god, that's
That's
funny.
fantastic.
I mean, I don't disagree with what
Yeah.
you just said.
Yeah. Mike,
Vladdy did deserve the MVP last year.
yeah, he did. He had a
Anyway,
great season.
but so like I just think the Angels are just they gotta make a trade. You
Yeah.
gotta get better pitching.
It's a long way to October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You gotta hunker
we'll see.
down and figure some stuff out. But I don't know when to eat my words. It's
I'd
not gonna be
I'd
yet.
say now.
No, it's
We're in
coming.
June, buddy. We're in June.
We are.
Early
When
June.
are you saying that they're gonna like just fall off the mountain here, fall off a cliff?
I'm crossing my fingers tomorrow. And the next day after that.
So you're saying like the whole month of June?
Every day.
What are
Every
we
day.
on? June 5th? June 6th?
Yeah.
Six.
June
So this whole rest of the month they're garbage, eh?
You know what? I wake up every day hoping that the Mets just start losing. Because
There
I
you go,
just
folks.
like to see them fail. And honestly, New York is leading the MLB.
They're
Right.
tied. Well, both New York teams are leading the MLB.
That's what I'm saying. The city of New York is 1 and 2.
They're on the
The whole
top.
MLB.
boys. They
And-
feel pretty good.
Honestly, quit being selfish. You're a city of 8.5 million people,
Yeah.
putting 300 square miles, spread out, move your teams across the bay, and just play fairly. Like, I don't know what you're doing, New York, but like, they're cheating. That's it. New York Mets full of cheaters. That's the only explanation.
They got
at
them
this
Apple
point.
Watches back out.
Yeah.
It's weird.
You know what? I hate New York Mets so much.
What about the Yankees?
Just because they just shoved my
What about
Cubs
The
the
in the
Yankees
bottom
are
of
just
the
as
barrel.
bad.
Yeah, like is it
Stupid Yankees.
hatred? No,
You know
this
what?
is Grant.
The
This is
Yankees are
Grant.
the Yankees are the Patriots of
Okay, but
The
so
MLB?
do you hate? You hate? You
I
have?
don't know. The Red Sox are
we've-
pretty
What
patriotic.
we've learned is you have a strong hatred towards the Mets.
yeah.
That is a New York team.
Yeah.
You have a strong hatred towards the Islanders. Now, do you just like hate the I would say, I don't know. Would you guys say they're the secondary New York teams, the Mets
Yeah.
and the Islanders?
Yeah.
Oh, there's not a doubt in my mind. They're the secondary teams
Okay.
in New York.
I didn't know about the Mets, but I knew about the Islanders.
Yeah.
So, is it just a hatred towards those two teams or all of New York?
Honestly, I think it's just New York being so selfish with their franchises
Okay.
that they gotta have two of everything: 2 football teams, 2 basketball teams, 2 MLB teams, 2 NHL teams.
But
Like,
it's the
get over yourself. You got great pizza.
It's the
You
top-
got
it's
great
the population,
culture.
I think.
I love Little Italy. The cannolis in New York are amazing. Trust me, I'm an A cup. I know these things. But when it comes to sports, quit being so selfish. Why doesn't Kansas City have a basketball team? Why doesn't Kansas City have a
Do they
hockey
have the
team?
demand for it? I don't know.
Not so much hockey, but Sacramento stole the basketball team from
They-
the clutches of
oh,
Kansas.
You're telling me you want Sacramento Kings in Kansas City?
We could do great things there.
Oh my god.
Great things. Call them the Scouts.
Get them at a sack down.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I see your point where New York does have a lot
You know when
of
you were in
franchises.
kindergarten and you see the bully at snack time
What is
with
he on?
2 pouches
Keep
of
taking your
Scooby-Doo
pudding cups.
snacks, with 2 pouches of Scooby-Doo snacks, and he's got like 5 of those like great powdered blue Scooby-Doo snacks
Okay.
out of those 2 pouches, and you got one, and you got the one powdered blue Scooby-Doo snack, and you just hold on to that like Indiana Jones holds on to that Ark of the Covenant, and you're just like, man, if I was him, I'd be so great off, you know.
Grantism right there, boys.
Yeah, New York's sitting at the top. Like, we get it. You got the Statue of Liberty, super cool.
New York, New York.
Yeah, congratulations.
It's where everything's filmed, where everything. Well,
Go Cubs,
LA
go.
and
Go
everything.
Cubs, go. Go Cubs, go.
That's all I'm gonna say.
So we're just going into terrible
We're only
teams now?
13 and a half games behind. We're only 13 and a half games behind in June. Like I said, it's a long way to October.
Okay.
Cubs are coming.
Yeah, but what team has come back from down 13 and a half games and what, 14 games under 500?
It's a goose egg.
That's a goose
Not
egg.
even like. We're talking like World Series. We're just talking playoffs. No team has ever like.
Even if they expanded the playoffs back to that 16-team format from last year, they ain't making it.
That was a joke.
So okay. I mean, I think this has been a pretty good session, boys.
Yeah.
I think this has been great. I think we have the perfect guest
Oh, yeah.
to match this energy
Yeah.
that we just brought today. And I mean, if you guys like this energy, like, let us know. If you want unscripted stuff like this, just let us know.
Yeah.
But I think we have the perfect guest.
My Islanders colleague.
Yes.
Yeah.
Old Georgie.
Good George Matthews coming on, play-by-play for Isles Radio.
I think we're going to hear, he's going to talk to you guys about, obviously, the QMJHL finals.
His career in the NHL.
Yeah.
As
And much more.
yeah.
I mean, this guy's been calling games for how long now?
He started out with the Capitals, and he was in Columbus for 13
Well, like,
seasons with the Blue Jackets.
I think,
and
like,
with the
well,
He's
Islanders
been
for a
doing this
while.
longer than we've been alive.
Yeah.
So this guy has so much knowledge, and we're grateful that he's coming on, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, he was with Turkey Gallant, like Gerard Gallant.
Yeah.
Whenever he was with the Western Capitals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's send it to him now, boys.
Here you go, Georgie. Hey, what's going on? We're back here with George Matthews. George, thanks for coming on.
Well, great. Guys, it's pretty special to be here, and I can see that the studio is certainly a lot better than what I started out with early in my career, so you guys already have an uptick in your career.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, we're just a couple university students.
Yeah, no kidding, yeah. I was 5 years into teaching at this point with a paycheck coming in, and I didn't live as good as you guys are.
We're trying our best.
So let's take it to the beginning. Out in
Yep.
Summerside, Prince Edward Island here. You said you had a car that couldn't even turn right.
Well, you know what? At a very early age, when I was cutting lawns and grass and whatever, trying to earn a living, not a lot of cash flow in the bank account. So I remember the first car I ever had starting out, going to college, and I was impressed with the car because it was the only car that I had owned at that point. It was a little beetle bug, a green beetle bug, and unfortunately when I got it home, I got to learn very quickly that the reason why the guy sold it was that it only turned left. So anyhow, the engine was good, but I had to strategize in Summerside, and I never would take it to the big city in Charlottetown.
No.
And so I eventually I could get my way around. On the highway was terrific. Get out to Kensington, and I could get to the dilly bars there as a 16-year-old. I think I was a big deal at that time, but that's where you start out. And from that point on, you strive to try to get and accomplish things in life. And if you work hard enough and you stay focused on it, things do happen for you.
So you said you taught as well.
Yes, I taught. I always wanted to be into the broadcasting industry, and what these stories I'm telling to you right now, it is, I remember doing a radio broadcast seminar in Cleveland, Ohio, and sometimes when you're not from New York or you're not from Toronto, and you think that, man, do I belong? Do I really belong in this mixture of professional broadcasters? And you sort of question yourself whether you should be there. But anyway, during the lockout of 03, 04, they had me all around the state doing speaking engagements, and I spoke at this broadcasting seminar in Cleveland, Ohio, for aspiring broadcasters in the state of Ohio. And so I get up and I told them my story, and this gentleman, I thought it was a bit of a different story or a special story because it was my story. And so when I finished, I noticed this gentleman and younger man standing in the open hallway, and he was well dressed. He looked professional. And anyway, so I finished up and I started to talk to some students, and they wanted to connect some dots and give me their cards and exchange cards and try to network a little bit, as everybody tries to do as they move forward in their careers. And so when everybody left, this gentleman came up and he said, he shook my hand. He said, George, congratulations. And I said, thank you very kindly. He said, my name's Tom Hamilton. He said, I'm the voice of the Cleveland Indians. And he said, I just stood there. He said, you just told my story. He said, that's exactly how I got to the major leagues, is exactly how you did. And so here's a guy, he's from small town. He's from small town, I'm not sure where it was in America that he told me he came from, which I was coming from small town Canada, right? Mm-hmm. So you think, well, does it feel right that I'm in this position? And then you find out that, there's people coming from suburban Kansas City that are calling games in the National Hockey League. There's guys that are coming from the east coast of Canada. There's major leaguers calling big league baseball from small town America. And it's all about getting your reps in, as we would say if you were talking about physical conditioning. It's about getting the microphone in front of you and calling the games and making all the mistakes that are necessary. And this is way beyond you people, but we used to have a big rural store on P.E.I. called Callbacks. And it was a big hardware store, and they were big in Bedeck, and they were centered in Bedeck. But I started doing broadcasts and doing the reads and all the advertising. I would say, you got to shop at Callbacks in Borden. And I would say that 20 times. And somebody would phone and say, tell George that Callbacks is in Bedeck. And so, you make all those mistakes, and that's where you start out. And it's a bit of a challenge early on. And you probably, in your career, you never want to look back too long, because it would be scary to be listening to your first work. Yeah. And it would be a head scratcher, and you would say, how did they even let me on the air? But anyway, and you go from there and you work at it. And in today's modern media world, you don't need necessarily mainstream media to get involved and to become pretty good at what you do. You can do what you guys are doing with talk shows, or do college baseball or college hockey or college basketball, and get that opportunity, refine your skill set at that level, and all of a sudden apply for the lower minors, and then you can go into that level and you start to move up the ladder, and then you get a chance to do your dream job, and then you never work the rest of your life.
Yeah. I just want to ask you, Have you found any tapes from when you first started?
You know what? There are tapes in the basement, and there are cassettes there. And
Are they going to stay there, basically?
they're going to stay there probably until I fully retire and take the time to look back at it, and it would be fun to see some of the and listen to and just roll your eyes and see where you are and the amount of effort and work that it's taken to get to where you went to, and the difference in between. It never happens without work. The minute, certainly in the media business, the minute that you stand still is the minute, like everything else, you fall behind. You got to be moving ahead, trying to do a better job, trying to think about better questions, trying to be better prepared. All my work, for the most part, was always I learned very early is to be prepared.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do an interview, have a storyline with it, have a sequence of questions that you have in your mind that you want to ask. You just don't go in and try to respond to the answer that is being given to you in the interview. Actually think out the process of the interview, what you want to hit home runs on, and then you can respond to some of the answers that the interviewer has given you, but be prepared to tell the story. Have a start, have a finish, and when you do that, you end up with some pretty good interviews, rather than just going crazy and trying to ask the opening question and then say, well, what am I going to ask next? It just, and early on, and that's one thing, I mean, again, in this business, and I know this is more of a media thing for people, and it probably doesn't interest a lot of people other than people who might want to move into the media business, but you cannot beat being prepared. That's the whole key, because when you're prepared, guess what comes with being prepared? I don't expect an answer here, but I'm just saying, what comes is a comfort feel.
Yeah.
You feel comfortable on what you're about to do. You're feeling comfortable with the questions you have and how you're going to ask them, the sequence you're going to ask them, and there's no panicking. You say, what am I going to ask next when he's finished? And I can remember early, and there's nothing like real life experience. I can remember calling a junior A game, and I referenced this poor player, this poor man, who's now a policeman in Truro. He's a benchmark interview for me. And we were doing the initial stages of the Maritime Junior Championship, where P.E.I. had to play New Brunswick. The winner then would play Nova Scotia. So we were in the first round. And in those days, the teams could always pick up a goaltender as a backup. So that year, Summerside beat Charlottetown in junior A play. And we picked up a young player. He's going to get so tired of me mentioning him all the time. But anyway, just a terrific guy. He's now a cop in Truro by the name of Monty Emery. Monty was a great guy, still is a great guy. And I've met him a few times since. And I said, Monty, listen, love to have you on in between periods. He said, George, no problem. Come on with you. Yes, no problem. I said, well, that's good. Now that's 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever it is. And the young people, the young players, were not nearly as media savvy with video cameras and iPhones and interviews and agents and all. That wasn't around then. So pretty nerve-wracking if you weren't comfortable having a microphone in front of you. But he seemed to be good. So anyway, we went on, and so I did the scoring summary, and I said, we'll be back with Abby's goaltender, Monty Emery. More of our second period intermission in just a moment. And so he settles in. And I said, Monty, so we're going to ask you these types of questions here. He nods. So anyway, I asked him one question. Yes. I asked him another question. No. I asked him another question. Perhaps. Next question, maybe. And I'm saying, and all my broadcast partners, they're behind me rubbing their hands. So this is an 8-minute interview of yeses and nos and not much detail. Then I look down to my right, and the Zamboni doesn't and cannot make it off the ice. It breaks down. And this is live radio. And then I have to go, and not a chance one of my broadcast partners would help. They were loving this. Okay? So I went another 20 minutes of yes and no questions with Monty. So it ended up being a 30-minute interview. And it's a benchmark interview for me, because at that point you really learn to listen what about the answers that he did give, the little bit of detail, and how to elaborate on those and work on that. And so I was stuck in the middle of a tough situation and not getting any help everybody enjoying it for the most part except for myself. So that's where you start, you develop some interview skills, and then you find out eventually that it's just not about a matter of getting through the interview, it's about getting an interesting interview. And then you start to work on your questions, and you formulate a storyline early of a person's career, the middle career, the final edges, whatever you want to talk about, something along those lines. And then all of a sudden you go into the interview, and I have no shame of taking in a billboard or not a billboard, but a question board of some sort with me. All it shows is that you care and that you're interested.
Yeah.
And I notice now more people, why don't you have a clipboard with you, so you can take a look down and look at the detail you're talking about. Nobody expects you to be perfect, and if it's live, they want you to be perfect, and it's not easy. Lots of times there's a taping, and you can do redo before it goes to air. But if you're doing something live, I have no shame in taking a clipboard in with me, looking at a stat, looking at a number, to make sure you're doing the job right.
So, what was your first gig in the sports broadcasting world?
Well, it would be it's always been hockey, and I've got I'm getting like once you get old like myself, all of a sudden you have a time to reflect, and you find out that there's a lot of time spent on the air, and I'm getting closer to 50 years into broadcasting. That's a long time. That's a lifetime for people. Yeah. And I'm into getting closer to 3,000 games. That's a lot of broadcasting. I don't have the exact number, and I'm not going to really figure it out. At some point I will, but it's somewhere in around there, and that's a lot of time behind the mic. Yeah. And to be quite honest, there's not very many nights that I haven't enjoyed doing the job. And to give up what you have to give up, there's a lot of personal sacrifice to get where you want to go. Nobody hands you the keys and say go with it. You got to earn the keys, and you got to spend the time in. And I mean, I would spend I would work 75 days in a row every week and every weekend on the road or at home doing games, midweek game as well. 2 or 3 leagues. It wouldn't be necessarily one league. It'd be senior hockey, junior hockey, college hockey, American Hockey League, and you're changing up all those leagues as you're working on those. But again, you're always looking to make yourself better. It'd be nothing to get home and do a game in Amherst, Nova Scotia midweek, and get on the boat. There was a boat, the old Abbey, the Abbey itself, I spotted it many times in the waterfront of Chicago. It's now a yacht club there. But the old Abbey horn still remains on the island, and we hear it at the East Link Center in Charlottetown. Hopefully we're going to hear it again before the season comes to an end, but you run into that situation, and you get home at 4 in the morning. I'd drive back down to Charlottetown, sleep for an hour, get up and take a shower, and go back up to Summerside and teach junior high the next day. That's what you have to do. That's the sacrifices you have to make to get where you probably think you're not going to get, but if you want to get, that's what you have to do.
Did you ever feel like if you sat around for like a day or 2 days and didn't get better, did you feel like someone was going to take your job? Because that's kind of the way that we're like taught, kind of like.
Well, not yet. You know what?
Around media?
And you know what? Here's what it is. I mean, the bottom line is, as long as you're moving forward with your career, as long as you are putting in the effort, and you are evaluating yourself each and every day, and you think you're getting better, you're not going to get replaced. I mean, but if you stand still and you get lazy and you don't want to put in the time, there's challenges coming from all angles. But as long as you move forward with the challenge by making yourself better, or trying to, I still work on phrases that to try to entertain listeners. I mean, it's I don't know. I would never use this in Ohio because they were not familiar with the term. But I mean, here I would say, "Holy shitty!" And I've had people tell me, I've had people say to the office, "What did he say? Did he say holy shit?" He said holy shitty. But I mean, those are the types of things that you add, even at this point in my life. It's about entertaining them. It's about entertaining, especially on the radio side. That's what I enjoy about radio, is that you are and it's a real special story here. But I mean, remind me of a story about seeing eye dog. Yeah. But I mean, the thing with radio is, if you're putting yourself asleep, then guess who else you're putting to sleep?
Yeah.
So my job is to entertain and bring some excitement, bring some description, bring them the information that they want, the detail, the score, who's scoring the game, update it, times, all that. I'm supposed to do that job. And then you let the color guy analyze and give his thoughts, whether it's Major League Baseball or whatever, let him do his thing. But you give that detail and you come with some energy. And I've always believed that if you don't come with energy, then you're putting the listener to sleep. And I'll go the reverse of that. If I come with energy, I'm entertaining the listener. If we've got listenership, we've got advertising. If we have advertising, I'm going to get paid. Bottom line, So but it's the entertainment business. But I probably would have had, I would say close to 1,500 games in of broadcast, where it finally hit me one night in Columbus, Ohio, that I did. I understood what broadcasting was all about. I understand what my job was about and describing whatever. But it never really hit home that on radio, you were the eyes for the people who were not there.
Yeah.
I never really broke it down that way. And we had Chelsea Dye was the young lady's name, and she lived in outside of Columbus, Ohio, in rural Ohio. And she listened to the Blue Jackets. She loved the Blue Jackets, and she listened on radio because of the description. Whereas in TV, it was more, it's more players' names. You don't have to position the puck. When you're blind, knowing whether it's a blocker save, a chest save, it's in the right corner, the left corner, back to the right point, they can visualize that.
Yeah.
And so, she asked our director of broadcasting one week that if she could come up with her seeing eye dog and sit in between Bill Davidge and myself, who were the play-by-play radio side of the Jackets. And they asked me, I said, sure, that's great. So Mark Denis, who's now a television broadcaster for the Montreal Canadiens, was our goaltender in Columbus at the time. Great guy. But anyway, Mark Denis was the goaltender. So she sat in between us, and I started to call the game. And I look over at Bill, and she's sitting there, and she's listening to the both of us. And all of a sudden, there's some excitement around the Jackets goal. I'm saying, oh, Mark Denis, what a save! He's down on all fours, head first, making the save. And so which is a normal call.
Yeah.
And I look over at her, she's standing up shaking. Just shaking. And I looked over at Bill. I said, holy smokes. Okay, so I didn't say anything. And down I go again. And, Mark Denis, perfect pad save to the stick side. He'll hold on to the jack. I look over again. She's standing up shaking. She couldn't see the game. Listening to all the audio. And that's how she would get the feel of the game. Yeah. And that's 1,500 games in, and I really didn't get that concept of it until, on radio, you're the eyes of the people who are out there, and you got to come prepared because, these people are counting on you.
And you helped her be a normal fan.
Well, yeah, she could follow the game. It's just, it was shocking. I didn't realize it. So mid-life, mid-career, that, there's so many people counting on you to make the call, right? There's not a video screen there. Yeah. And so they expect you to show up and be accurate, as accurate as you possibly can be. And that's what makes the job a challenge, but also exciting, to be on top of your description, to be on top of the game, because people who aren't there are expecting you to call it with accuracy and information.
So, first game with the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yes.
You're at the NHL level. For a player, that's nerve-wracking. What about for a broadcaster?
Well, the first game was a preseason game against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Penguins are loaded. I'm thinking, this is a preseason game against the expansion Jackets. They probably will not have a big lineup. Anyway, they had everybody in. Everybody. They had Lemieux in. They had Yager in. They had they would have I'm just going through Kovalev. I said Kovalev, they just went on and on. They were like, when there's no salary cap, they were just loaded.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm pretty happy, I've done about 1,500 games or whatever back in the East Coast, and if I only do one game in NHL, I'm happy. And so I'm sitting there, and the president and I can't exactly use the language that he used, but the president came in and he stood in between Bill Davidge and myself, and he's an island native, and Doug McLean. And anyway, he said, "Boys, you ready?" And all this, what a great time it is to for sports in Ohio and in Columbus and so on there, and whatever like that there. And he was joking around, and all of a sudden the right fist came out of the pocket and he slammed it down on the table. He said, "I just want to let you tell both you guys." He said, "You know what? You're not in the minor leagues anymore. Don't screw it up." Then he left, and I'm sure that he was smiling all the way, and it wasn't quite described the way that I said it was. There's a lot more language than that there, but that was basically it, and that's where we started. And I said to Bill, "You know what, Bill? If this is our only game call, it is what it is. We're going to enjoy the ride.
Let's make it a good one.
Let's make it a good one, and that's what it is. Right. That was the first of 1,000 plus broadcasts in the NHL, and everyone was a privilege to do, and with the fan bases and being there early on, and the diehards and the post game shows and all of that. It was a full day that would start at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you'd still be doing a post game show at midnight. Then you'd have to hang around, and that's when I say have to hang around. You would hang around. It was great to deal with the fan base and the fans that were interested in the games and the jackets, and it became a great passion. We had a great time over the 13 years that I was there, but it never seemed like work, despite all the hours that would be put in. And for any young person who wants to become a broadcaster, if you can find your way into an opportunity where you can actually earn some type of income from it, or do it part-time and work something else, it's the greatest job in the world.
Yeah, well, that's like kind of what I'm part-time with the Islanders now, full-time at the radio station, and just every day doesn't feel like work at all. I love going and doing it.
You're unbelievably blessed.
Yeah.
I know it's about money. It's always about money. I know it's always about money for me. But I mean, so to say, well, money doesn't, money counts. Yeah. But if you can pay the bills, and if you've got something you love to do and you can pay the bills, you're one lucky person. Mm-hmm. Because to go through life and not feel the grind of a working career, but everything is you're pretty happy with doing, you're unbelievably lucky.
So how did you get your start with the Blue Jackets? Like, where were you right before, and then what was the call up?
Well, it was I had done all the junior scene here on P.E.I. I did the CIU championships. I did college hockey with the Panthers. I did the Allen Cup and senior hockey and those types of tournaments. But then the P.E.I. Senators came, and I did 3 years with them. They were here for 3 years, and myself and Paul Skierman up in Summerside, we did the coverage there, and then they left, and it felt like a void. Yeah. So I eventually moved from Summerside to Charlottetown. That was a big move. Yeah. Big move on P.E.I. So anyhow, I came down here. My wife had been in business, so I thought, well, I might take a year off and perhaps see if I could find something in the American Hockey League, and then just go and try it for a year. And then I got a phone call from a former student of mine, Grant Saunier, and Grant said, "George, there's a job opening here in Anaheim. They just let the radio guy go." And of course, I had everything. I had a tape, I had picture profiles, I had a resume, I had everything there, and would never send it out. Never ever send it out. And anyway, he said, "Do you have anything on file?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "Send what you have, send it out." And the lady was Lisa Seltzer, and she was she even gave me, which is another story. She continued to give me some type of regard even in the future. But anyway, I sent out the tape. It was there in 24 hours. And she phoned me. She said, "George, this is Lisa Seltzer from the Anaheim Ducks." I said, "Yep." She said, "I just want to let you know we've got probably 1,000 tapes here for this job." And she said, "I listened to your work." She says, "I really like it. I'm going to put you down to Final Four." I never even phoned my wife. I never even told my wife. I never told my wife about this job. And I sent a tape out to California. And never thinking I'd get a response. And then she phoned me back in about a week's time, and she says, "George, this would have been '96. She said, "George, I'm going to leave the Ducks, and I'm going to work for Fox Sports. I'm going to produce the World Cup of Hockey for NBC Sports and Fox in '96, where Mike Richter's playing. And terrific series, played in Montreal, and one of the best hockey series ever." And anyway, she was producing it for Fox Sports. She said, so I'm leaving. I said, she said, I'm going to leave. She said, I've recommended you and several others. And she said, I'm going to leave it with the president of the club. Anyway, I mean, the easy trend and the easy decision was to hire their American Hockey League guy. He was already in the system. They knew who he was. And he was in the mix of the Final Four. So anyway, I got a phone call back saying I didn't make it. I was relieved. I was a nervous wreck for 3 or 4 days saying, oh my God, what am I going to do if I get the job and I go to Anaheim? And I mean, I'm going to be out there by myself. I mean, it's LA. Anyway, so I was actually the only guy ever in the history of broadcasting to be relieved that I didn't get the job. So then I went back and I was doing junior hockey and I said, geez, how stupid was that? So the next year the job in Philadelphia came up and I applied for that. I got to the Final Four in that again as well. But again, I'm coming from the outbacks of broadcasting. I'm not in the American Hockey League. I'm not in the East Coast League. I'm doing college hockey and junior hockey in Eastern Canada. And they're saying, well, you know, we can go with our minor pro guys and we know who we have. And so I got down to the Final Four there. Another opportunity came in Tampa. Tony or Phil Esposito talked to a buddy of mine. He said he really liked the tape. But again, they hired an American, and they don't have to bring a Canadian in all through the paper transactions and the visas and all that type of stuff. So, I got close on a couple of opportunities here. So it made me think that perhaps, you know what, I'm not that far out here. And then a great friend of mine, Doug McLean, got the president's job, and he phoned me. He said, George, what was it? December the 26th. I guess it would be December the 26th in 98, I guess it was, 98, 2 years away before the team. He said, George, I'm going to offer you the job. So I didn't tell anybody, and I just kept working along. And, finally I had to, it got down to the final 3 or 4 months, I had to tell them that I was committing to go. Took my leave of absence and whatever. It was a big move. I was going on my own. And so I went down, and I guess the game plan, which was foolish for me, was I was going to go down for a year and go back to teach. And the school board gave me 5 one-year leaves of absence, and I was there until I was 60 years of age, and then for 13 years, it was a great opportunity, but real life stares you in the face at times, and you make some decisions that probably are best for you in the long run, and miss the NHL energy and game night and all that. But after a while, living pretty well on your own and getting through the days day after day and not having an immediate family around with you, after a while it gets a little bit old. And I got a chance to get in 1,040 or 50 games, and would have liked to stay a couple more years, but the opportunity was to come back here, and the Islanders were starting, and I get back home here, sleep in my own bed on a routine basis, and go from there. So that's how it happened for me. He phoned me, gave me the start, and I got to give Doug a lot of credit, because unfortunately, when you're a broadcaster, you're not a guy that can hide in the corner. No. You're not an assistant stick boy. You're not an assistant this. Okay, you're right there on the front line, and you're evaluated every night. Mm-hmm. And Doug, I got to give all the credit to give me the opportunity, and he was there for the first 6 years. I guess I was there. The final 7, I was pretty well left. I'm not left like I was homeless. I was when we started with 5 guys, and from the island at the end of the last 6 or 7 years, I was the last guy there. So it changed the dynamics and that family feeling. Not that it wasn't quite the same. And then being on my own as I was time to come back, and because once as you get older here, not when you get younger, you guys are still climbing the hill. When you're on the other side of the hill, it starts to drop real quick, and there's not as much time left, and you want to enjoy yourself and enjoy your home life. And P.E.I is a great spot. Charlottetown is a terrific city. We had 28, 29, 30 affiliates in Ohio, all of 100,000 or more. But what the province? I traveled all over North America, Kansas City, as they say, you can watch your dog run free for 4 days and still see him going.
Hey, that's Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, yeah,
Different
that's
ballgame.
right. Oh, yeah, there's two different. You're right. That's Kansas City, Kansas. You're right. There is two Kansas, and right beside one another. Is that right or what?
Yes. No offense to my dear sweet sister-in-law Megan,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Kansas City, Missouri, all the way.
Yeah. I mean, we have two Kansas Cities right beside one another. Right? So it. But anyhow, it just So I mean, you get all over the map. Up into North Dakota and out into California, you see a lot of things. But this is a great spot. To live. P.E.I. is a great spot, and Charlottetown restaurants, Institute. You've got college, you got University of a Young Person too. It's not a big city, but it's it's got a little bit of a warm feeling to it, and there's a comfort zone here. There's friendships established for a lifetime, and it's a good setup. So good spot to drop the anchor in, and back here now for a number of years, and I'm still enjoying it. People ask why I still do the games. It's a form of entertainment for me. It gets me into the house, and
Something you love to do.
it's something I like to do. And I'm certainly not in it for the money. And so anyway, but it's some obligation to come to work prepared and entertain the fans. And I know the radio. I know I'm just getting here now over the last week or so the radio ratings that I've seen since I've been here on P.E.I. the first time, and I know the ownership group are more than pleased.
Oh, yeah.
That people are dialing in on radio. I'm not going to give the numbers out here, but they're really happy with them. And whether I'm doing the games or Corey's doing the game, all I'm trying to do is get sports back on the radio here in P.E.I.
Yeah. No, I was talking to Jay the other night, and he said that the radio was really pleased with the two. That they get really good ratings.
Yeah, they're more than pleased, and I'm hoping that for the Islanders that they can get on full time next year. And they deserve to be on the air full time.
Yeah.
And they've got it's the biggest brand in the province, the biggest turnstile turn is Charlottetown Islanders hockey, and just to continue to expand it a little bit and make it as a high profile team as you can in the province, and everybody reaps the benefits of it. So, but anyway, it's just getting back and getting radio and getting sports on radio here was a bit of a challenge, but it looks like it's going in the right direction. And if we don't have listeners, it doesn't mean anything, but the listeners are jumping on board. They want to follow the Charlottetown Islanders, and it's all good. It's all good.
So just to wrap this bad boy up here.
5 hours later,
I'm
losing my voice.
Okay, Justin first here, and then I've got a final question for you.
So I want to talk a little bit about this Q finals that we're in. First
Yes.
time ever.
I thought I was going to get out of this.
First time ever.
Not with the Waterboyz. We're going to do our due diligence.
I mean, first of all, what's your thoughts about the Islanders making it there?
I think it's
expecting
terrific.
it?
Yeah, it's like you guys are so young, and I understand why there wouldn't be the appreciation of what actually is going on here. But for the old geezers like myself, this is the first time that the island has ever been in a major junior final. First time ever. Never been to a Memorial Cup, and I'm not sure when we'll see it again. It's taken whatever the CH. Well, the island has never always been in major junior hockey, but I mean, whether they were or not, as a province, they were never in the Memorial Cup. It doesn't matter whether they had a team or not, they weren't there. So. For them to get to the Memorial Cup, if it was to ever happen, it's a history-breaking event here. And to get to this level is something that's never happened before either.
So what's your reaction so far with game 1 and 2?
Well, you know what? Team 1, the team certainly was a little bit of flat. There's no doubt about that. Xavier Simoneau not in the game on Game 1 on Saturday night took a bit of the edge off the game, I think, for the Charlottetown Islanders. And now whether he should have been suspended or not, that's up for debate by a lot of people. One of the issues that I have, being old school, is that in the old timers world, things were black and white, and there was a big gray area. And the easy way to make calls today, it's black or white. And it takes all the stress and friction out of a decision. But when I look at things, is it realistic that assessments are assessed strictly on black and white? Or is there a story here in between that varies, what's happening? Should Simoneau have been suspended for a game? Not in my eyes. But the league sees it differently, and the call is black and white. And if you go by their black and white call, then they made the right decision. I don't believe in the black and white. I believe in a gray. of some degree, where you read the decision and say, was the kid hurt? Did he play in the game? Did he play a significant amount? Did it look like he played
Scored 2
12 or
goals.
15 minutes in the period? He wasn't hurt, okay?
No.
So what are you teaching a kid by suspending him for a game when he doesn't even hurt the kid? So that's, I believe in the gray. Most of the world today, they believe in black and white. And, last night, the game, the Islanders deserved to win.
Yeah.
Shots would tell you that. The game flow would tell you that. And I have full respect for the officials in the third period, where I'm a big believer in letting the teams on the ice play the game out, stay out of the way.
Yeah.
And there's 4 or 5 calls not called, because I think the officials respected what was going on the ice. This is the league final, and we're going to stay out of the traffic lanes.
Tied 2-2 most of the third period.
Yeah, and then you've got calls that are missed by, and I don't want to say missed, not called.
Yeah.
And I think the officials in the third period did a great job. They let the game flow play, and they were going to let the skill match up against the will, and hopefully the will gets more skill and the skill gets more will.
Yeah.
And that's where you're at the 20-minute mark, and the best team wins. Now, what's disappointing, obviously, that is driving everybody crazy today, is the call that's made at the 59-minute mark of the period. And it's, in my opinion, it's a really tough call to accept if you're a Charlottetown Islander fan. I know many people in the league are seeing it. No, they're saying that it is a call, and the league does have it right. It is. They made the call right. But there were 6 or 7 other calls in that period that were black and white, and none were called.
Yeah.
So why is that black and white call called at that time? And not only that, but that call wasn't called. It was called where the face-off was 89 feet away from both goaltenders.
Yeah.
Anything that was going to happen in the next 4 or 5 seconds was
No.
irrelevant.
No.
Nothing was going to happen in the next 4 or 5. That wasn't a face-off deep in either zone, or a face-off win would immediately perhaps generate some type of crease chaos.
Yes.
That wasn't happening here. You have that scenario, and then you have the scenario as well, where if you call that at the 10-minute mark, it's going to be a 5-on-4 power play.
Yeah.
You call it in the last minute of the play, an advantage of the team who's trailing, it becomes a 6-on-4.
Right after they tied it up.
Yeah, right after.
Or
The Islanders
go
taking the
ahead,
lead.
yeah.
Yeah. So a huge difference in everything when it's a 6-on-4. You're really gifting a golden opportunity. Not necessarily is it 100%, but you're gifting a golden
We're
opportunity.
showing against power play.
Yeah, Shawinigan. You got. They've got
2 first rounders.
Well, they got 2 first rounders and the Dubé kid who played pro here. Those are pro style players with pro style shots. They're going bar down because they can go bar down.
Yeah.
There's lots of players in Major Junior who can't hit that. Those guys can hit that, and that's who's on the ice for them. And I think they're 5 for 7 in the power play after 2 games. So a really unfortunate situation to have the call made, and the league says. And rightfully so, it was the right call, as it was the right call. I guess I've never seen the call made from there before, but the league says it's the right call, and I can live with that. What I can't live with then is all the other missed calls in the same period that were black or white, and they weren't called. If everything is to be kept in unison, it's pretty simple.
Well, that's the fact that the only penalty call in the third period was a face-off infraction.
At center ice.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe, I don't know the man who made the call. I hear lots and see lots of stuff here on Facebook today, and it's not positive towards him.
No.
And you know what? I can't believe, I gotta be honest with you, I cannot believe that if I was the linesman on the boards, when that puck was dropped, knowing the ramifications of what the call would be, that I would ever have had the gumption to go out and make that call when the 2 officials right in front of the play didn't make it.
No.
Why is it my role to go in and make that call at that time, and to know what the ramifications of what you're doing and the crowd, and really stirring things up when things hadn't been called, and now you're going to make the call, and the 2 officials right on top of the plate, neither one wanted to touch it.
No.
But I'm going to come through all that maze. I'm going to make the call. I can't imagine how many people would want to make that.
Yeah.
life-changing decision of that game.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's unfortunate that that it unfolded the way it did. I thought the Island deserved to win, and
They were the better team the whole game.
they were the better team last night, and it's a very unfortunate call, which was right. I'm on record as saying that it was the right call. I'm not saying that it was needed.
Yeah.
Because we missed a lot more in that period, which I totally agreed with. I thought the officials did a great job. They let the game play out, and the best team was going to win it, strictly on 5-on-5 play.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that, despite the fact guys are getting hooked, guys are getting stacked and packed and racked in the boards, and play has continued on. I thought the officials did the right thing and allowed the game to be played until the 59-minute mark of the period.
Yeah.
And the two red-armed officials, I can't believe they were very happy.
No.
Yeah. So my final question about this series is: do you think Charlottetown can get back from this?
I think it's a real tough job here. I think emotionally, not having Seminole in the first game, having that game ripped away from them at that point. Not that you know, Shawinigan might not have tied it up on a 6-on-5. Big difference between a 6-on-5 and a 6-on-4.
Yeah.
Big difference. And but we don't know that. But they did tie it up in a 6-on-4, and that's the bottom line. And that's what is grating a lot of people here today. And I don't know. Your question is, we'll find out. I know that Jim Holton is a terrific coach. The building's going to be full. Shawinigan's never won a league championship, so they've got that going for them as well. The officials hopefully will allow the game to be played, and we won't have a type of call that blew up on everybody last night in the final minute of play. And I just and again, a lot of people are upset with this call. The league has made the statement that it's the right call, and that is correct. And everybody's wondering where all the other calls were.
Yeah.
And when you do one and you don't do the others, then that's when you run into a problem.
Yeah.
So I think between the intro and our interview here, we spent about 20 minutes on this call. I think for us at the Waterboyz, that wraps that up.
5 hours of prime time here, guys.
To wrap this one up, you talked about your mistake with the hardware store in Bedak that you said was important, and how that may have been a low point, a high point of the career. Walk us through that.
Well, and it's a great question. I think just one of this. So there's lots of highlights, and I know calling our first game in Columbus with Pittsburgh, that first preseason game, to go on the air and call the Jackets, but there's not one. Calling our first win of ever in Calgary on the road, it was strictly a radio call. There was no TV, and calling that game, calling the first game at home against the Dallas Stars, where the Buffalo WJR gave us the Homer Broadcasters of the Week off the win over the Dallas Stars, defeating the Stanley Cup champions. Was a big game call as well. First playoff series against the Red Wings. Those would be all significant calls. There's when you enjoy it as much as most people who are in that position, I don't know if there's one exact call that certainly jumps out at you. I enjoyed it all with a number of games and opportunities and that were called upon. I can remember. This is not necessarily a highlight, but it's funny how games go. But I can remember playing the LA Kings, and there's crease chaos in front of our goal, and there was the puck was alive and it was under wraps, and finally they blew the play down, and at the Staples Center, and then LA is desperate to get 2 points out of this game, and so anyhow they readjust the clock and they add 3 or 4 seconds on it, and there's another face-off, and again there's a scoring scramble off in front, and just prior to that, the net had been relocated. I think perhaps I told you. So anyway, the face-off come about as they added a few seconds because of the net being relocated, and so anyway, LA wins the draw, and I told you that they added 3 to 4 seconds on the time clock. Anyway, LA scores to win the game with 3 or 4 seconds left in the game, and doesn't seem like a big deal. with the 2 points, LA makes the playoffs, finishes 8th overall, and goes on to win the Stanley Cup. Just like that, 4 seconds, and they win their first Stanley Cup. And nobody looks back at that. I do.
Yeah.
And it was near the end of the season. There's only a couple of games left in the season, and those 2 points with the net being relocated and the seconds added on, they're going to score, and that puts them into 8th place in the West, and they go on to win to.
Oh yeah, I remember that year. That was like 2010.
Yeah, something like that. I just forget it. So,
2012.
you know, small moments. That's why one of the we're going way past this, but there's a movie out there called Sliding Doors, and it's I'm not a big movie geek that I remember every movie that I watch, but this movie Sliding Doors, which is good for young people to watch. It's a movie about whether you take the right door or the left door, and how your life totally changes if you take either one of those doors. How every move in your life, moving forward, can change your life. Yeah. And I mean, they changed the clock for 4 seconds, and every player on that LA King team, they got something they're going to cherish for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
great being on with these guys, and you know, I hopefully didn't put you to sleep.
No, it was awesome.
I was
I
leaning
think,
forward to the
I think
entire
this
time.
was our most colorful, fun, exciting, storytelling, I would say, interview that we've had ever.
Well, that's
Yeah.
if we didn't have like time frames to hit, I could sit here for another couple hours and
Yeah.
listen to stories like that.
No, it just, but that's what I mean, if you want to get into the media business, there's nothing like it. To me, the energy of covering something live, being at the event, and you're getting paid for this.
Doesn't feel like work.
No, it never feels like work, and we're blessed, even at this point in my life, to have something to go to that you find entertaining. People appreciate what you do. You inform people, and I'm long past the money thing now. I'm just doing it for to have some fun and try to establish sports on radio here on the island, which is it's coming. Not as quickly as I would like it, but it's coming, and hopefully it's here to stay. Because as I try to tell people, every other state and province in North America has it. Why can't we have it here? You know, so it's starting here, and I got to give Max 93.1 credit. They're doing a great job with us, and we're looking to get more games on the radio moving forward. And hopefully you're going to be able to follow the Charlottetown Islanders on radio game by game moving forward here.
There we go. Well, Justin, why don't you tell the folks where to find us?
So you can find us on YouTube, where you're watching this right now. You can also listen to this audio version on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Now, we have our social media accounts, you know that, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But you also have to follow along on the social media of the Instagram, Waterboyz_media, where we're covering all the local island sports that we possibly can.
And Islanders games.
Great handle, Waterboyz, man, that's great.
Doing live score updates, post-game interviews, everything that you need, it's there. So just go along and follow along, and Grant, send these bad boys out.
Will do, Juddy.